If you want to suffer less in your interactions with other people, you just have to learn how to manage your expectations. And this is really simple, and um, it's really simple to understand, but actually implementing it, some people might find hard. I know I find it like a bit challenging as well, but I'm also the type of person who loves challenges a bit too much, so I just dive in. But yeah, I recently had a situation where I had to decide whether or not I trusted someone, and I just couldn't trust them based on everything that they were showing me, and I didn't think that it was good for me to continue sort of being in their life or letting them being in my life because I couldn't see that being good for me. Like I I weighed the scales and I realized that if I wanted to keep the integrity of my system, uh, my identity on lock, uh, I had to let them go because they were affecting me in negative ways, ways that weren't useful to me or to the accomplishment of my goals. And I think that's like those are the types of decisions that you just have to make sometimes. So, uh, if you even want to understand what trust is, I guess trust is just belief extended through time, right? It's trust is only something you gain after realizing that something is reliable. So I guess people trust money because money will always be reliable, right? You can just flash that piece of paper and then you'll get something or anything that you want as long as you have enough of those papers. That is, since everyone trusts money because it's very reliable because everyone uses it. So if you want to be a reliable person, if you want to be a trustworthy person, you just have to be reliable to others. Um, you have to keep showing up. You have to have integrity, and you have to actually care. And that's how people start thinking you're reliable, and then they start trusting you. Um, I try to do that. I try to constantly communicate how I feel, um, communicate the way, like what's happening in my head. And before, I used to be the type of person who just kept things to himself because I thought no one actually wants to hear you, like, and everything that's going on in your head. But I started thinking differently. It was like if I was the other person, I'd probably want to hear what was going on in their head, just to make sense of it all. Because like I would want to be of service if there was anything I could do. Even beyond that, I would just want to know if they actually like wanted me in their life to begin with. And I think that's where like communication comes in. Like there has to be communication is really delicate thing because at the end of the day, it's like we could say that even when two people are communicating, they're actually never truly communicating. It's just um, one person saying something, the other person understanding it through their own lens, and then saying something back, and then the other person understanding it through their own lens. So the words they stay in space, but the ideas are always like things that are going on inside people's heads, which is it's unfortunate, but it's the nature of communication in this world, or at least um, due to how we think and how our brains work. We can't help but filter everything through our lens of perception. I think this goes into trust as well because it's like when you're trying to make a connection with someone, this could be like a potential client. You want them to trust you, right? So you want to project reliability and trustworthiness. Um, what you don't want to do is you don't want to present as anything but whatever you say you are. And even if like you could set deadlines, I think something I do often is I set like unrealistic deadlines just to push myself. And I never okay, sometimes I actually make the deadline. But when I don't make the deadlines, it's not like I beat myself up for it. No, I'm always honest about this. Like, I do it intentionally to push myself because I know that if the brain, like my brain will only fill up with as many ideas as possible of like solving a problem as I allow myself. So I trust myself enough to shorten the timeline enough, um, whereby even if I keep it short, I can still sort of it forces me to think outside of myself, and that's something very useful. That's something that's helping me grow as a person, because I think it's very easy to limit yourself. Um, and yeah, so in regards to like trusting people and being trustworthy, you just have to be yourself and you have to constantly communicate like who you are, what you want, what you need. I think at all times. I think that's so crucial, um, because a lot of people don't communicate. Um, they'll think just listening is like communication. Sorry about that. Um, where was I? So yeah, people will think that just listening is communication, and there's a way more to it than this. Um, I think something I've only begun to understand is that a lot in life is stuff that you can't really control. Maybe there's like three spheres of control. So it's your core, like who you are, that you have full control over to an extent. Even though most of it is just running processes that act automatically just to lighten the burden on your brain. But you do have control over that. And then there's your influence field, which is how you project. So when you take action, you can only take action in your influence field. The stuff you work on, the people around you, the conversations you have, that all of that is your influence field. And then there's like the third thing, which is the contextual environment. So that's everything you don't have control over. Stuff that's happening in other countries, stuff that's happening with other people who have nothing to do with you, or they might have something to do with you, but they're just too far away to like influence you, or like they might be able to influence you, but that's only like if you are aware of it. But you can't really still do anything like other people's actions, basically. All of that is just contextual environment. And a huge mistake I've found myself making in the past that I'm always trying to like, optimize again, like to I'm always trying to optimize for right now is to stop taking the contextual environment as my influence field. Um, it's just like because it's so easy to see other people have conversations and then understand that um, you know this could be stuff that's like it could affect you. um, I think in the past that used to happen a lot. Like I would have sort of people take actions and like whether they were actions against me or whether they were actions for themselves or whatever, I would see this and I would actually get affected because I would start asking myself questions like why, does this even make sense, why would they do this, I would never do this. But all those questions were useless because at the end of the day, like they're just humans. They are who they are, and I am who I am as well. I think that's something to be proud of. Um, Humans will always be humans, you know. They always do whatever they think is right, and the worst thing is like when you judge them as good or bad. That's when things kind of get sticky because As soon as you put a label on anything, uh, yeah, that's when you have to now define everything that isn't the thing. So I think the most useful thing is to like, and I guess this comes into trust as well. When you feel like you're getting betrayed, maybe the most interesting thing to do is to like pull yourself from the situation. So pull yourself from you because your brain has a tendency of thinking of things in terms of whether or not you're gaining or losing. Um, if you could pull yourself from you and like just look at yourself as if like in the third person, right? So look at your whatever's happening to you as like some kind of story, right? Um, yes, it might be a bit interesting or whatever, but like, is that really what's happening right now? Is whatever you're feeling really what's happening? Um, and like, if so, do you really have to react to it? What you'll normally find is that the answer to this question will be no. You don't have to react to anything, but you feel the need to because yeah, most of our reactions aren't even things that we are aware of ourselves. We just act and then we think we're in control, but it's just our survival mechanism sort of taking over. And I think this also has a lot to do with trust because, if you can't trust someone, then it's basically like a threat on your life to an extent. Like think about our ancestors who they had to trust each other if they were like going out and hunting in the wild. Um, one misstep and it could be over for you if you just can't trust the people you're hunting with. So it makes total sense when I think about it like that. But then again, since we're not hunting out in the wild, we have the presence of mind to be present. So again, take a step back away from yourself, away from your situation. Uh, Say hypothetically you do feel like you're getting betrayed or you just got betrayed. Take a step back and then understand that you could react to this in all manner of ways, um, but you don't have to because you always have the one thing that you really, really have right now, and that's your choice. You can just choose to not react in ways that would mess up the integrity of your identity of the person that you actually want to be at any moment. You know who that person is, like that best version of you that you actually want to be. You know who that person is, and you don't even have to like look too far to understand exactly what they would do. Um, just be that person. You know, what would they do? So you pull yourself back. You understand that you don't have to react, and then you go back into your body with the understanding that you can still be the best version of yourself. So what this would look like if you ever get betrayed is to just calmly deal with it, you know, communicate your feelings, and if there's still like a misunderstanding, you don't have to entertain it too much. You can just end things right there. What this might look like if you're dealing with, like there's all sorts of situations. I recently had someone who was I was working with them, and they were promising me like payment, but payment never came through, even after like a few weeks. And I contacted them and I let them know, hey, it's been a while. Like, what's up? I could have blown up. I could have immediately blown up and said, hey, are you scamming me or whatever? But I didn't do that, right? Because I understood that they might be going through their own things. And I trust myself. I trust the quality of my work so much that I know that they probably wouldn't be scamming me anyway. And it turned out that it wasn't the case. And now everything is cool. Uh, it was just a lot was going on their side as I thought, right? So you like you might not be able to trust people to fully trust people because at the end of the day they'll tend to act in all different ways that you won't understand because they're just not you. So you might not be able to fully trust them, but you can trust in the fact that they're human. You can trust in the fact that they will do these things. Uh, they will let you down sometimes. Things will not go according to your expectations, and that is why you will suffer because expectation is the root of all suffering. Uh, and this action of like pulling yourself back from yourself is really useful because it allows you to let go of expectations and just view things as they are, not as your lens is like forcing you to view them, because your lens is clouded by your expectations. Um, anyway, thank you, and I'll see you when I see you.